Hey there, Justine Byrne, founder of JumpSmart Talent and Amadeus Search, and building data teams is kind of my thing. I can help you build your data team if you're an emerging company, and if you are a data scientist, machine learning engineer, or AI researcher, I can help you get your next role. That's what I do. So I am talking today, this is your tip of the day, and it's about talking to HR about what you do. Now, here we are. I'm in HR. HR was neither a brains contest nor was it a beauty contest. And we all know that, okay? But we are still able to have like very intelligent conversations about what you do, especially if your recruiter or the recruiter at the company is focused on data, or it's a data-driven company, or it's a highly technical company. We don't need you to talk to us like we are bambinas. And I recently had kind of an interview where somebody was like, well, I do, graph neural networks. And I was like, that's great. What problem are you solving? And they were like, well, I'll just talk to the team about it. And I was like, actually, I understand graph neural networks. I've been interviewing people for this job for 2 weeks. I've spoken to 40 of your peers. Like, I think there's like a real sweet spot between getting so technical and or glossing over it. Because here's what happens. If you get really hand-wavy about what you do, I assume you don't understand it. I don't assume that you think I can't understand it, right? So if you're like, well, we've decided on a GANs model, and I'd be like, oh, as opposed to a diffuse network? Was it a latency issue? Like, I want to have that conversation with you. I don't want you to say, I'll talk about it with the team. First of all, I know what my team is looking for. I know what the problems they're solving are, and I know what their constraints are. And if you're solving the same problem in a very different way, that doesn't necessarily put you out of the running, but I can put that in my write-up and say, hey, listen, he's actually solving the same problem, but he's got like more of a latency issue, and so he's solving it this way, or she's solving it this way. But what I don't want to do in my HR phone screen is be spoken to like I'm too stupid to understand what you do, because that at that point, I don't have enough technical detail about what you do to even convey that to the team. And I'm just like, whoop, next, honestly. So there's a very good sweet spot about be very clear and concise about what you do. Tell the HR and the internal recruiter what problems you're solving, what exact technical tools you're using, what type of model are you using, right? And then say, this is, we decided to use a regression model. These were our constraints. And, do you need any more detail about that? The minute you start saying, well, it was very complex. It was a very complex model. Cutsy complex. Okay. Well, if it's too complex for you to describe it, I'm going to assume you don't understand it, right? So don't talk over HR's head, but also there is something to be said where if you can explain something to a 5-year-old, you actually can really understand it. That's a sign that you can understand it. And there really is a sweet spot about explaining what you do to that gatekeeper. Because guess what? We're keeping the gate. And if you're really hand-wavy, you'll never get to line. This actually came off more threatening than it meant to, but I think it's that important. So make sure that you're treating your HR counterpart with respect and being really clear about what you do. And don't be afraid to be too technical, because we can use that to get you seen. Even if, say for example, it's like, do you know what? He didn't use any Bayesian models in this, but he understands why it would be useful. If you're telling me what kind of models you're using, I can convey that, right? So that's the tip today. Treat that HR relationship with a tremendous amount of respect, and they will do the same. And I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow. If you are looking for a role, there's going to be a link to open jobs below. If you are hiring, there's going to be a link to buy a search credit below, and we will see you soon.